Hi, I'm Jonathan Ford. Welcome to Derby College Motor Vehicle Department. Today I'm going to take you on a little taster run and see what you'd be doing if you come and visit Derby College. So this is one of our workshops. This is actually what we call the EPA Centre, and this is one of the places that you might visit when you come to train with us. We actually offer 4 levels currently at the moment. The entry level, whereas if you just want to get involved and have a go and taste of motor vehicle, we offer a level 1, the next step up, and the first one, which is an ABC qualification. We also offer a level 2 and a level 3 IMI qualification, which is your pathway into industry. Let's take you around a couple of the vehicles. A couple of the tasks have already been set up, some of the things that you may be doing whilst you visit us. So this is one of the vehicles that you may be working on at the time. This vehicle is actually going to be having a emissions test, one of the regulations that's required for MOT currently. So when you're here, you may be setting this rig up, just as Tony's going to demonstrate for you. And you're going to take a reading of the emissions and see if it would pass an MOT. So what you see now is actually Tony's going through one of the emissions checks, setting the parameters up, and then that will take a reading of the exhaust emissions to see that if it would go through an MOT pass. This is actually an air conditioning regas that's been set up. Although this may not be involved in your initial course in level 1 and level 2, when you get to the higher levels, this is something that you'll be possibly dealing with. Again, air conditioning is a very technical subject. You need a special certificate to be working on it. So this is one of the jobs that's be accessible while you're here. Moving over to the ramp, as you can see, we've got state-of-the-art tracking gauges. As part of your course, one of the main areas you'll be working in is chassis. Chassis looks at the braking systems, the suspension systems, and of course the steering. So with this Bluetooth setup, we can set the tracking, set the angles of the wheels, the caster and the camber of the wheels, so that the car runs true down the road and we get even tyre wear. Moving down onto this vehicle, here we have what we call a snap-on scanner, okay, with the particular brand. But this particular snap-on scanner is actually linked to the car now. And what we can do is actually go into the vehicle's memory. We can read actually its ECU. We can program its ECU. We can alter and control door modules. We can wind windows up and down with it and do all sorts of fancy things. However, we use this to read the memory, and things like this you'll be doing in level 3. We use this as a pathway to get through once from the ECU, and then we can take other measurements from components, thus solving the problem. This is a skill that most employers will be looking for when they are employing you as a fully qualified technician. Okay, that's the next one then. So over here we've got a new setup. This is an Aris hybrid. Currently, as you know, in the car industry, things are changing, things are moving faster, and we are seeing a lot more electric vehicles and hybrid vehicles coming into the market. Thus, as when we move forward, it will be a time when petrols and diesels no longer exist. So we're pushing, the industry is pushing for new technology, the industry is pushing for this kind of setup. So we are at Derby College are delivering them areas to keep you updated. We have here an Aris hybrid that you would work on and you would be able to diagnose and test. But we also have here over the side another Aris, believe it or not. But this one has been transformed into a rig where you can physically test it, work on it, and be able to diagnose faults with it. As far as we know, this is actually the only one of its kind within the country. So we're trying to keep everyone, all of our students, completely up to date here in the motor vehicle department. Okay, so if you choose to do a level 1 course here at Derby College, one of the first tasks in the year that you'll be doing is actually a tyre change. Tyre change, we use this large machine here called the tyre machine, and we also have the wheel balancer over the other side there to balance the wheels after we've changed it. Tony's going to be actually actively doing a tyre change now, so I'll talk you through what he's actually going to be doing. So initially we'd let all the air out of the tyre, and then we do something called breaking the bead. This is where an arm comes in at the side and breaks the bead off the side of the tyre. Now, once the bead has been broken off the side of the tyre, Tony places the tyre onto the platform, and the tyre machine grabs the inside of the wheel. And it's very important that your fingers stay away from the outside of the rim whilst you're doing this. Even that tyre popping back could seriously hurt you. So Tony sets the arm on the outside and then levers the top of the tyre over. He'll then rotate the tyre around, slowly lifting up the tyre, and then he'll do the same to the back of the tyre. Rotates it round, and then he'll remove the tyre arm then, and the tyre is removed. What would happen now is the tyre wall would be soaked up, allowing it to be lubricated. We would then refit this tyre. Now, in real world situations, obviously that tyre would be replaced, but this is the type of process that would happen when you go and visit a tyre company or someone, you know, someone like Quick Fit or Halfords or so on and so forth, and have a tyre replaced. You learn this skill, and this is obviously a very valuable skill within the industry. So now, using the same tyre machine, he's feeding the tyre back onto the machine. Then he'll also feed the outside on there as well. Back it up. And there we go. Now, the last thing to do is the tyre needs to be inflated to pop the tyre back out onto the rim. There's one side and there's the other. And there's the tyres replaced. That tyre would then go onto the wheel balancer, the tyre would then be rotated, and we would balance that tyre. And that was the job done. So that's just one of the jobs that you'll be doing as part of your course. There's many, many others. There's obviously brake pads, there's suspension systems. We work on the engine. You'll be taking spark plugs out, removing cylinder heads. We'll also go down the line of doing transmissions. In transmissions, you'll do things like take clutches out, take drive shafts out, look at differentials. And then, of course, when we get to electrics, we'll look at, you know, initially basic circuits. Then we'll go into things like using the scan tool to read memories. And then, of course, we'll start getting into wiring diagrams and advanced diagnostics, all to get you up to that place of work.